Okay, so I'd just first like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians and owners of this budja, the Whadjuk Noongar people, past, present, and future. I'd also like to pay respects to the Noongar Ballawong elders, in particular my elders, so my nan and pop, and past, present, and future for the passing down of knowledge I now possess and will continue to build on. I'd also like to warn Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to be mindful of sensitive references and names that may be included in this assessment. Okay, so I've chosen to focus on question one, which was about the Pinjarra Massacre. And just a little bit of background about me. My name's Reese Collard, and I'm a Noongar man from Ballawong Country. And I'll go ahead and start. So, colonisation in Western Australia. So, colonisation played a key role in the build-up to the Pinjarra Massacre. So, it really had a significant impact on the local Noongar people of the Pinjarra area, which were the Pinjarra Bimbalum Noongars. So, the year of 1829 saw significant changes with Aboriginal Noongar people as the British Crown gained sovereignty over the western part of Australia. Noongars were gradually deprived, with particular laws coming into effect that controlled their civil liberties and segregated them into camps, missions, and reserves. So they really had a big effect on them. They basically they lost all freedom. And it's really it's evident that it had a big effect on their lives. It ultimately displaced them from their traditional country and therefore significantly affected their way of life, culture, and tradition. So the Pinjarra area in the south of Western Australia, which was the south of the Swan River colony, was colonised due to it offering an idyllic farming land. So it was really good for farming. And because of this, it became the front line of colonial settlement. So colonisation of the Pinjarra area caused civil unrest between local Noongar tribes and the British settlers. There were 5 years of fierce resistance between the Pinjarra Biblimum Noongars and the governor James Stirling and Thomas Peel and their settling of the region. It's really therefore evident that the Noongar people were strongly opposed. They didn't want this. They were strongly against the white settlers colonising the region. Because it was their country. It had always been so, and their unrest is justifiable. As to them, the colonisation was seen as an act of invasion of their country. So the Pinjarra Biblimum Noongars guerrilla warfare tactics, in the white settlers' view, were a threat to the settlers in the Pinjarra region. Their concerns continued to intensify throughout the colony, which ultimately led to the massacre of Pinjarra. Okay, so the Pinjarra Massacre. So really, the pressure between the Pinjarra Bimbalum Noongars and the white settlers reached breaking point. And as I said, it ultimately caused the massacre on the 28th of October 1834. So Governor James Stirling knew about the resistance, and in addition to this, he knew the importance of continued exploration and farming the area. So he knew there was great potential. He knew there was more to be found and explored. And he knew that if he didn't do something, or if something wasn't done about these disputes, really, it would be detrimental to this exploration. And so therefore, he wanted to make an example of the Pinjarra Biblimum Noongars, in which he obviously did. So this massacre was horrific. The murder of the Pinjarra Biblimum Noongar men, women, and children. It was a well planned out and thought out attack involving Thomas Peel and Governor James Stirling. So Governor Stirling and Thomas Peel, along with other military men, ambushed this group on the banks of the river at the Pinjarra area. So this attack took place during a time of the year where the group, actually they used to meet for traditional ceremonies, so they knew this, and therefore that they caught them by the element of surprise and ambushed them. So as Wally states, research commissioned by the Aboriginal community compiled information and came to the conclusion that at least 150 Noongars were killed. This innocent group of people were targeted because their beliefs, cultures, and traditions were not of Western culture. So, they were murdered on their own land, the land that had always been theirs and their ancestors for thousands of years. So that attack was really, it was callous, it was disgusting and inhumane. So obviously, the massacre, the Pinjarra massacre, obviously had many impacts. The massacre significantly affected many Pinjarra Bibbulmun Noongar people, and ultimately it really left behind a people that were emotionally unsettled and traumatised by the horrific attack that took place. And in addition to this, the practice of outcast policy really dramatically restricted the movement of Noongar people in their own land. So the massacre also resulted in the Noongar people moving away, as they could no longer be near a deaf place for a certain period of time. So, you've got that displacement, loss of culture, loss of land, all these things that, they'd lost family members, men, women and children. So, it really affected and it had a grave impact on the Pinjarra Bibbulmun Noongar people. So although the massacre took place in 1834, there are still key issues surrounding this event that continue to remain unresolved. These issues span from colonisation of the Pinjarra area, as ultimately colonisation caused the dispossession of land for Noongar people, and therefore loss of culture, lifestyle and way of being. So, all of those things combined had a significant effect on Noongar people of the Pinjarra area. In 1834, and still to this day, has caused intergenerational trauma and is still continued to affect Noongar people. So land rights. So the Pinjarra massacre and actually the laws and policies surrounding this event led to Noongar people being displaced from their own country, so their own traditional lands. This ideology of displacement is seen today, actually, when Noongar people recently actually faced a second displacement by the West Australian government when they were denied recognition of their land. This actually occurred when the South West Australian Land Sea Council put forward an application in regards to land rights and native title of the southwest of Western Australia, of which actually Pinjarra is located. And rather than the state government actually granting the land rights, the state government, the Commonwealth, and the full court continued, as they have always done in the past, to displace the Noongar people. And continued to refuse to recognise Noongars as traditional, because in their view, they have endured colonisation and its impacts. So as Virgin states, the Noongars were placed into modernity, and deprived of their Aboriginality. So really, it therefore can be seen that, the policy and laws back then and, the whole massacre in itself is still seen today. We've still got issues from it today. And the fact that the land, Aboriginal people were dispossessed of their own land is still occurring today. And, it's all tied into one. So it really, this key, as I said, there was just, there's still land rights and other issues that continue to remain, currently unresolved. So recognition. So recognition continues to be a key issue surrounding this event. that remains unresolved. And given the horrific nature of this event, recognition, I really think, needs to be made to Noongar people. So Theo Kearing, a local Pinjarra Aboriginal leader, has been lobbying the Murray Shire Council over the past 20 years to put up a memorial on the site where the massacre occurred. These attempts have been proven unsuccessful. So the recognition through a memorial is needed for closure and to pay respects for the horrific killings that took place in the Pinjarra area. It is also needed for the healing for Noongar people. We talk about this healing being a big thing, and it is a big thing. And really, the little things like memorials and paying respects and acknowledging is really needed, because ultimately it's these things that continue to be remained unresolved. So in addition to recognition through memorial, a 2017 campaign led by Pinjarra traditional owner Kerry-Ann Caring to rename the Peel region due to the name linking back to Thomas Peel was initiated. The fact that the region is still called Peel causes distress to many Noongar people today. Many Noongar people feel uncomfortable every time they see the word Peel, and it's completely justifiable because, they're reminded of that horrific massacre and that person that actually had a key role in the massacre, Thomas Peel. So this is, again, a key issue that remains unresolved. So concluding, it therefore can be seen that the Pinjarra Massacre is a very significant historical event in Noongar history. It was an event that was caused by colonisation, which, led to disputes between the Pinjarra Noongar people and the white settlers, namely Thomas Peel and Governor James Stirling. This ultimately caused the Pinjarra Massacre. It is clear that these events impacted Noongar people from the region initially and still continue to impact them today, through Noongars having no land rights, lack of recognition of the event through a memorial, and through the region still being named Peel after Thomas Peel. Okay, thanks for that. I hope you enjoy.